Well, here is an angle that we don't see very often. Might have done it a few times way back at the beginning when we were working on the deck here. I can't remember. But at least we get to see all 18 turrets. And I was noticing when I was editing out yesterday's episode where I made that little repair job. Remember I broke this little piece off right here? I was noticing that I could see where the CA medium had touched the post, and it was kind of reflecting. So I think I'm going to just touch that up quickly. And yesterday, at the end of the video, we forgot something. We forgot to put the cranes on. Well, we can do that today. You know, in all likelihood, I'll be pulling the cranes out anyway when I do the rigging and the railing, because they'll kind of be in the way, especially for right here. And in fact, I'm wondering if possibly the turrets are going to be in the way for some of the railing. At least they're not fastened in, they're not glued in, so it's easy to just, you know, quickly take them out. Anyway, easier to take them out than to put them back, apparently. There we go. All right, let's touch this up. Okay, hopefully when that dries, it'll dry flat and the shininess will be gone. But I want to show you some more shininess. I was talking about it earlier, but you can really see it if the light hits it just right. Okay, at the top of the ladders, you can't help but see it. And that's where the CA glue thin sort of pooled. And yeah. It's been recommended that I try this Tamiya flat clear, and I forget the exact name of it, but I got it written down somewhere. And I'll put it on my list, and next time I go to the hobby store I'll pick some up. I do have some Tamiya, you know, clear 22, but it would have the complete opposite effect. It's the glossy stuff. So yeah. I just checked the hobby store's website and I couldn't find that Tamiya dull coat. But I did find this. I wonder if it's the same thing. Now, before we actually move on to the very last step in the manual, let's put one crane on. It's supposed to go right in there like that. There we go. Yeah, I can sort of see how that would have worked. I could have picked up a boat. Or maybe it was more designed for retrieving the aircraft. No, it would have been for retrieving the boats as well. They had to get them out of the water somehow. Anyway, I think that's going to look pretty nice sitting there. Probably would have been at an angle like that when the ship was going along in the sea. Now, as near as I can tell, we've done everything we can on step 64 here. 64 was just basically putting things on the deck that we had already made, like the 18 gun turrets and the 2 cranes, of which we only put 1 on. And being as that everything's going to probably be coming off anyway, as I mentioned, that's the way I want to do it, to put the railings on, get it out of the way, less chance of breaking stuff, and it'll be easier to manipulate the railings around. Now you'll notice on the bow and on the stern, there's sort of like a little flagpole thing going on there. Well, that is this right here. And we made those up quite a while ago. I think there's one way back in, I think probably the first month or so that we started working on that. We painted these up, but I had decided not to put them on because I was afraid I'd end up breaking them off, which I may or may not have. Step 65, the aircraft. All right, we made one up, if you remember. This one here. And it's the one with the folding wings. If you remember, we had to took one of these and cut the wings, and this is going to be sort of sticking out of one of the hangers. At least that's the plan. I think it'll probably look pretty good. Seems to me one of the viewers had suggested that. I don't think I thought about it myself. I might have eventually. Anyway, so there's that. And these are enough sprues for 3 more aircraft. We'll don't know if we're going to make 3 more, but we'll make 2 more anyway. We'll mount them on the catapult. We almost were only going to be able to put them on 1 catapult, if you remember. Yeah, that could have been bad. Anyway, turned out not too bad. Now, there's one more thing here. Where are they? Okay, the propellers and the rudders. I think that maybe we should do them next before we start the aircraft. And see if we can't get them on yet today before the end of the video. Shouldn't be very hard. I think the hardest thing is going to be to get the hull out of the cradle and sort of lay it on its side without accidentally breaking off those ladders that go down the side. Yeah, well, let's get at it here. I've been doing an awful lot of talking lately and doing very little, so let's stop talking and start doing. Now, I really hate to be doing this because it's going to set us back to the way we looked, what, yesterday morning? But I think it's going to be a lot safer. Okay, and get the ones off the other side, and then we'll see if we can't do something with the propellers and the rudders. Okay, so I'm just looking at this thing, and I'm realizing that possibly I can do this without turning it over on its side. All I have to do is plug the rudders in from the bottom, and the center propeller, I should be able to get it on fairly easily. And I'm just thinking here, what if I very carefully lift it up here and watch that the bow does not dig in. I'll just sort of pull it back here a little. Now if I lift it up, yeah, that should work. Now I got interested, and I was just wondering how long ago was it that we were working on the propellers and the rudders. Well, it turns out it was way back in episode number 65 and 66. And yeah, that's when we did these. And that was almost 10 months ago right now. Isn't that something? A lot of water has been under the bridge, you might say. Anyway, here we go. Let's see what we can do. Now there's 2 ways these rudders can go on. If they go on, I believe, this way, see if I can get it started here, they should be almost straight up and down. If they go the other way, what happens is they are more flared out, kind of like stabilizing wings on a more modern ship. But I think I got them the right way. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Oh no, looking at it from the back, it's the wrong way. Well, you know what? That's Murphy's Law. I mean, I looked at the rudder shaft here, you know, the stem part of it, and I thought, well, it looks like it should go that way. But Murphy's Law will get you every time. I don't want to get too aggressive here. It's a kind of a tight fit. Probably because it's been painted. Now where's the other one? Okay, let's put this one on. do believe it's all the way up. Now let's look at it straight from the back. Yeah, I think that's more normal. Otherwise they were sort of, what you might say, towed in. The camber and caster wasn't quite right, if you know what I mean. It was the opposite to what it should be. I don't know. Now it looks... Yeah, no, that's the way it would have to be. Maybe I should find a photograph. I did find a photo. There's probably better out there somewhere, but this one kind of shows it. And you can see that the bottom of the rudders are sort of flared out a little bit to the side. I'm guessing maybe, 5 degrees off straight up and down. Yeah, and that's the way it is on the model right now. Now for the propeller, if you will recall, we did make 2 extras. And I thought this one looked the best, but now that I'm looking and seeing here where maybe right there at the top of this top blade, I didn't quite get that gold paint on. Let's see what the other one looks like. Okay, how does this one look? Maybe this one's better. Now all it's going to do is just go on there. Once again, it's a bit of a tight fit. It's not supposed to spin. This is just a static display. Now I think that's too loose to not glue. Okay, now for the port and starboard propellers. It doesn't matter because there is only 2 of them. Okay, that's a fairly snug fit. I don't think that's going to come out of there. Maybe I don't need to glue that one. But this one here, I think I'd better just put a little, pull it back off and put a little bit of CA on there. And then, yeah, once the glue is on, then that's it. That's the way it's got to stay. Okay, let's see if we can back this off just a little without it coming right off. Just so that I can get at the shaft there. I'll put on a little bit of... Can I get it in there? Maybe I'm going to have to take the prop off. You can always put it back on again. There. Yeah, that works better. Now, as I've said many, many times, we don't need very much. Okay. I think that should do it. I'll test it in a few minutes. If it comes off, I'll do it again. Well, I don't have to take it off and do it again. It's on there pretty good. Now I have to be careful not to catch the mast and so on all these wires I've got hanging down here. Now this one is a little bit loose. Maybe I better put a little bit of CA on the shaft and just shove it in. Yeah, that's too loose. No, I don't want to be putting on so much it's going to, when it comes up against that bearing there, that it's going to start to run. So I'm just going to turn it as I'm pushing it in here. Well, it didn't work out quite as planned, but I'm sure it's going to work. Okay. Now for the udder rudder. Now, you're going to have noticed when I'm zoomed in close like this on pieces that there are marks that obviously have to be painted over. And I know I have said this before, but I will be going around the entire ship after I'm completely done and, touching up places as best I can anyway. Now, these places like this right here, you don't really notice that when you're looking at the ship. We're zoomed right in more or less, and we've got a spotlight on it, and yeah, you see stuff like that a lot easier than you otherwise would. Now, I don't know, is this kind of loose here? You know what, it's kind of loose. I'm afraid it could work its way back out. Well, I'll see what happens by the time we get to the place where we have to put it in a case. Let's look at it straight on from the back and see how it looks. Yeah, it looks okay. Nobody's going to be able to look at it exactly like that anyway, but I think it's okay. Okay, make sure there's no grease on my fingers. And we'll pick her up. And being mindful of the bow. Okay, nothing seems to be jamming down here. Oh, look what I just did. I grabbed hold of it right there and, well, let's glue that on. I think we have time yet today. I put the ship back up on the roll of paper towels so I can get at it a little bit easier here. Now don't poke at it anymore, you're going to mark it even worse. Now, this ring here, I guess that was for a rope or something. That was supposed to be down. I think that's it. I will let that cure, and next time I won't grab it with my big thumb. It looks a lot different with the rudders and propellers on. At least it does to me. I'm not used to seeing it like that. You know, we're 10 months having it the other way, and now all of a sudden it looks even more finished. Now, as for the aircraft, we're going to have to start on that tomorrow. No more time today. Thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.